and welcome to the Gluten-Free Psychiatry Podcast. This is episode 20. Vegetable oil is more dangerous than sugar or fat. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Williams. Yes, this is kind of a bad news episode. We have let people prepare our foods for us, and they have snuck in more than 2% omega-6 vegetable oils of all kinds. So we're going to cover that today. Look at this list here. Soybean, corn, canola, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed, rapeseed, grapeseed, and rice bran. Those are the most toxic when taken at over 2% of dietary intake. And they are plugged straight up into everything. Check out the Cure AMD Foundation. AMD stands for age-related macular degeneration. The macular is the photon receiving portion of the back of the inside of your eyeball, your retina. And there are 20,000 cases of blindness a day of this AMD being diagnosed around the world. So we are chock full of it, and that's what we're going to be covering today, so stay tuned. Take a look at the biological effects of these vegetable oils, what they do inside the body. Dopamine, that's your addictive center. I've talked about addictions. We can cover that more in detail in the future, but all addictions have the same chemistry in the brain. So we have this addictive component to all the processed food. It's causing a disruption of our dopamine processing. Serotonin affects our mood, and not in a good way here. So I think we'd be more moody. We're going to feel better. And the glutamate is an excitatory system. So if you're taking something that affects it, you're going to go through waves of relaxation, excitation. So I feel like we're sedated, we're comforted, and it's also estrogenic. There are phytoestrogens. These are estrogens, for example, that come from the soy plant. And so they are acting like biological hormones within our own body. So of all the things I've discovered here at Mindshift Care in my research to roll the new curriculum out for you in a coming community, it's the vegetable oil that surprised me the most. And so we're going to be learning to prepare our own foods and low oxalate foods, which we'll cover again later separately. So there's more to be revealed with nutritional supplementation. But for now, pay attention to this blindness thing because macular degeneration is nothing that you want. And it does appear in my family. So I've got personal ties to how I figured this out. Okay. My mother has that. And so she's been a great source for me. I've tried to invite her on the show. We'll see if she'll think about it. But check out cancer, diabetes, and obesity. You would think sugar and fat and lack of exercise and commitment are the problem, but there's been a confounder the whole time. These toxic vegetable oils, when taken at over 2% of the consumption, look what they do. These would cause addiction, mood changes, excitatory issues, probably sedate you when you eat it, make you feel relaxed, and then start getting tense when you're withdrawing from the vegetable oil. So the opposite would happen to these chemical cycles as you yo-yo wanting to snack all day with processed foods. That's what it boils down to. We let other people prepare our food for us, and this is what we got. Estrogenic means it's on the level of every strand of DNA. Hormone receptors are on DNA strands. That means you've got enough of it in you to saturate all your cells and with sludge, and not just vegetable oil, but that's the same truth for BPA plastics, the forever chemicals, all these that act like estrogen. Everything does, which means we just got tons of this junk in our bodies, and we need to limit the intake and detox what's in there. So here's a slide that shows the health effects of vegetable oil. And this comes from the Cure AMD Foundation. Please support them. They are a nonprofit doing the right thing. This is one of the huge pieces of great dietary advice coming from within the United States right here. But basically, when you have more than 2% of your calories coming from these omega-6 fatty acids, it's pro-oxidative, pro-inflammatory, it's toxic, and it's nutrient deficient, leading to metabolic disease and physical degeneration. You're going to age faster and go blind. So that seems to be what's happening. So check him out. In 2017, Dr. Chris Kenobi left his ophthalmology practice to start the Cure AMD Foundation, and he published a very famous paper stating that age-related macular degeneration is a westernized disease, and he has a unifying hypothesis paper. And so if you check out his website, the links are in the show notes here right under the videos. He gives a great presentation about it. To be honest, his presentation is a great example of how you go through the Bradford Hill criteria to prove causality in medicine. We don't really say proof very often. Go back and look at the steps involved when I said that there's proof now that Agent Orange causes dementia. Compare that to the way he does it, and he's a great example of using all the criteria to show that we've got enough evidence now to say that this is true, right? There are some things that are theories that we treat as law without as much evidence, and this guy has really done his homework. So kudos to you, Chris. So I've got a link to his YouTube video there on the show notes as well. And a brief summary is that when you track the last, say, 60 years or 100 years, depending on which of his slides you're talking about, you can see that even when sugar stays stable, that the overweight, obesity, cancer rates in vegetable oils track upward and upward. And so he's got data on the consumption percentages. And so if you want to fight back, if you feel like you want to mind shift this topic, if you're into research, maybe you're a grad student or looking at a grad program or high school, could be a published researcher and want to look at blood test levels or neurotoxicity and detox of these things. But you may just want to be a regular consumer and find actual healthy foods. So you should check this guy out here that's got some websites here together for you. If you check it out, getrealmilk.com. He's got a couple places where you can find like localfats.com. So if you want to find local farmers, if you want to help build this database, support things like this or consider doing something like this for yourself, I'd be happy to partner with you. These are always leadership opportunities. I'm not just sitting here trying to educate you and give you some tips I would share with my patients or family. I'm also trying to help you, empower you with mastermind group ability to come to me and come to the group. Let's build a group together. I've developed a platform and my time is yours. This is an active channel, first come, first serve. And so I'm going to do a start now or a start here episode to squeeze in here just separately to show you the different types of leadership opportunities. Maybe you need letters of recommendation. Maybe you need volunteer experience or you want to intern. Maybe you want to be an investigative journalist or get involved with my next documentary. Check out my first documentary first at mindshiftcare.com. I flipped on so many subjects, it's going to be very different, and I won't be using a VHS tape this time. So this guy's pretty good. You can definitely check out getrealmilk.com and localfats.com so we can start encouraging local farming. And then the real next step is to find these places that don't have the toxins, that are organic, but also don't use plastic and, as little contamination as possible with some third-party independent lab tests. That's all we want from you guys. So if you know anyone in the industry that makes food or beverages that's willing to get some third-party independent testing of that and show us maybe that it doesn't have gluten, doesn't have PFAS or BPA plastic in the lining of the cans or the bottles, if you can show us that, you're welcome on the show, right? Let's show and hold companies accountable to do some testing and show us what they don't have in there. And then we'll leave it to the people to assimilate this stuff and make the new apps and databases so we can all find them and start voting with our dollars every time we buy this stuff. That's how we fight back. And for you and your family, it's all about cooking your own food because you wouldn't use that much vegetable oil. Just use a healthier oil. Do that research. We'll cover that later, which ones to use. But definitely stay away from the ones I mentioned there. And I've got the list here in the show notes. So coming up in episode 21, How the Brain Rebuilds. Episode 22, Geoengineering Watch. We're going to talk about the chemicals proposed to be coming out of the sky and how we'd prove that, test that, trace it through the body and detox from it, show reversibility. So we've got several steps in the healing and Bradford Hill criteria process there that we have no research in many of these areas at all, and we're sorely lacking some of these things. But they're all neurotoxic. And so whatever's going on in our environment, the stress, even the electromagnetic waves, exposures to toxins, the story we're telling ourselves, all that stuff. The body keeps the score. It remembers everything that you've gone through. So it's time that we heal, and I have good news for you on that front. I was going to do a project like this anyway. If you look at my resume, I was going to build something along these lines. I've done it once before, the medical mastermind community, and it was successful. And the mentorship groups did continue through the American Medical Student Association. They saw what I was doing. I inspired them. I helped guide them a little bit in the beginning and ran one of their first groups, and it's still going strong. This time, I want to do a train the trainer. So if you see a leadership opportunity, or if you hear of a research article you want to participate in, maybe you have that disease or disorder and you want to try a healing, or you want to try something that I've mentioned on the show, you can either be a participant in it, or you can be in a mastermind group to run it, write it up, get it yourself published. And if you want to get published on a paper or two with me, then you can learn my methods and run your own mastermind group here at mindshiftcare.com. So that'd be a good leadership opportunity if you're up and coming and you care passionately about these things. If you want to help write the blog, things like this, we could organize it. I feel like we need a place for authentic research. So more will be revealed in the future. Meanwhile, this has been episode 20 of the Gluten-Free Psychiatry Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Williams, online at mindshiftcare.com.